Good evening and welcome to NewsNight. Tonight we'll have all your international, national, and local news. I'm Jill Musser.
And I'm Erin Ute. After failed contract negotiations, the United Auto Workers have gone on strike. Find out what impact this will have on the industry.
And after 40 years of service, Mandarin Gourmet is shutting its doors. How are students and employees reacting?
All this and more coming up on NewsNight.
Passengers of an Australian luxury cruise spent part of their trip stuck in Greenland. The cruise ship became stuck in the mud on Monday, September 11th. They remained there until Thursday, September 14th. The Ocean Explorer had a total of 206 residents aboard, 94 being crew members, with the remaining passengers. The 112 hopeful tourists came from New Zealand, Australia, the United States, the United Kingdom, and South Korea. The cruise began on September 2nd, departing from Norway with the plan of returning on September 22nd. During its expedition through the Arctic Circle and Appa Fjord, the ship became jammed in mud 870 miles northeast of Nuuk, the capital of Greenland. The boat was owned by a company in Florida known as Sunstone. While the company reported no injuries, a few of the passengers had to be isolated due to contracting COVID-19. A vessel was sailing on Wednesday, September 13th. This ship, along with many others, attempted to free the cruise ship, however failed. The Knud Rasmussen, a Danish naval vessel, was the next attempt to save the cruise ship. However, this trip was 1,200 miles. The passengers expected the ship to arrive on Friday. Passengers were rescued and taken to the nearest port, where they will be flown back home, taking the Greenland broadcaster KNR commander Brian Jensen of the Joint Arctic Command provided updates on the ship's status. According to the Associated Press, Jensen revealed, now, quote, "Now it is exciting to find out what the condition of the ship is. They are in the process of investigating whether the ship is intact and seaworthy and ready to sail on," end quote.
A Vincent van Gogh painting that went missing in March of 2020 has been found. The Parsonage Garden at Nuenen in Spring, which was painted in 1884, was stolen from the Singer-Larn Museum east of Amsterdam. It occurred during overnight heist in the beginning of the COVID-19 lockdown on March 30th, which was Vincent van Gogh's birthday. Arthur Brand, a Dutch armed crime detective, announced last Tuesday that he recovered the stolen art piece that was missing for over 3 years. In a video posted to his Instagram, Brand said he was able to recover the artwork in close coordination with the Dutch police. He said an unnamed man handed him the painting in a blue IKEA bag at his Amsterdam home. Brand said it was, quote, damaged but restorable. The painting is estimated to be worth between $3.2 million and $6.4 million. In April 2021, Dutch police announced the arrest of a 58-year-old man, only referred to as Nils M., on suspicion of stealing paintings by Van Gogh in Frans Hals with an estimated value of about $22.4 million. The Van Gogh painting has been returned to the museum, and the penalty for stealing a painting in the Netherlands is 8 years in prison.
A catastrophic flood struck Libya on Sunday, nearly decimating the eastern Libyan city of Derna. Storm Daniel hit Libya with 400 millimeters of rain in a 24-hour period, damaging the 2 dams that hold the Wadi Derna River. The mayor expressed that nearly 20,000 people may have died, with over 11,000 currently reported. Ahmed Zotan Al-Libya, representative from the WHO, expresses that, quote, "This disaster is of mythic proportions. Now the retrieval of the corpses is important as in burying the corpses before they disintegrate and cause environmental issues," end quote. Libya is still waiting for more specialized rescue teams to help dive and locate misplaced survivors and bodies. After one of the largest natural disasters in the nation's history, Morocco is now looking at the cause of its severity and how to recover from it. NewsNight reporter Logar Abdis has more on the story.
A powerful 6.8 magnitude earthquake struck Morocco on Friday, September 9th. Morocco's Interior Ministry reported that over 2,900 people were killed, with another 5,500 injured. The initial tremor, with the epicenter located just south of the capital Marrakesh, can be felt as far as Spain and Portugal. According to the United States Geological Survey, aftershocks ripped through the area following the initial quake, with one registering a magnitude 4.9 20 minutes after. This disaster is the deadliest earthquake in Morocco following the 5.9 magnitude quake that killed at least 12,000 in 1960. The large death toll of the current earthquake is largely attributed to the fragile mud brick homes built by many living near the epicenter. These homes often lack a strong foundation and have unsupported concrete slab roofs. Omar Farkhani, a former president of Morocco's National Order of Architects, says about these structures, quote, "At the slightest vibration, the walls collapse and the slabs fall on people," unquote. Morocco has attempted to resolve this by passing more stringent building codes in recent years, but many living in the more rural areas of the country still live in these fragile structures. Officials continue to look for survivors in the rubble, but many tonight are beginning the long journey of picking up the pieces and what was left behind.
Martha's role will now be introduced in NHS England hospitals. As said by the Secretary of State of Health, Martha's rule will ensure that patients have the legal right to ask for a second opinion from senior medics within the same hospital. The rule was written after Martha Hills, age 13, died of sepsis in 2021 after falling off her bike and injuring her pancreas. Her mother raised concerns about sepsis but was dismissed by doctors, which led her to the delayed treatment. The Secretary of Health, Steve Barclay, and Patient Safety Commissioner Henrietta Hughes are working together with NHS England to form consistent standards across England and other countries. A popular YouTube family vlogger has been arrested for child abuse. Find out more about the court case after the break.
Beginning of YouTube, family vlogging channels have existed. While most of these channels are wholesome and lighthearted, a few seem to fall through the cracks of being exploitive of abuse. The mother of the channel, Ruby Frank, was arrested on Wednesday, August 30th for 2 counts of aggravated child abuse. Her first court appearance was Friday, September 8th. Frank attended virtual court from Washington County Jail alongside her business partner, Jody Hildberg. They are both facing 6 felony counts of aggravated child abuse. The maximum penalty for each count is $10,000 worth of fines and 15 years in prison. If found guilty on all counts and given the max penalty, Frank and Hildbrand could each spend 90 years in prison and be fined $60,000. Lamar Winward, Frank's attorney, is trying to obtain an expedited detention hearing. This would cause discussion of bail and pretrial conditions sooner. Her requested September 14th for the hearing. The KSL legal analyst and public defender described the severity of the situation. According to Desert News, Greg Skordas explained, quote, "They want her out, otherwise they'll get to them when the judge decides. The judge has to take two things into consideration: risk to the community and risk of flight. You can't put her back in the house where the alleged crime occurred," end quote. The reason behind the expedited hearing is due to Hilbert suffering from a life-threatening medical issue. Windward believes the cases of Frank and Hilbert should be heard together.
A federal judge last Wednesday declared a federal policy which prevents the deportation of immigrants brought to the U.S. as children illegal. U.S. District Judge Andrew Hanen agreed with Texas and 8 other states suing the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, also known as DACA, program. DACA recipients are also referred to as Dreamers. Hanen's ruling extended the current order in place against DACA, which has prevented the government from approving any new applicants since late July 2021. DACA is still operating for prior recipients. In this ruling, however, Hanen voted no to the state's request to have DACA end within 2 years. According to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, at the end of March, there were 578,680 people enrolled in the DACA program. In 2020, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that the Trump administration improperly ended DACA, which allowed the program to stay in place for the time being. This ruling is expected to be appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, making it the program's 3rd time being discussed at the High Court. After 14 days on the run, Danilo Cavalcante has been apprehended by state police. NewsNight reporter Jonah Summers is in the studio. More on his arrest. Jonah?
Thank you, Erin. Last week, the 2-week-long search for fugitive and murderer Danilo Cavalcante ended. Cavalcante was prosecuted on August 23rd for the murder of his girlfriend. It was not even 10 days later that the suspect escaped the Chester County Jail and went on the run. Cavalcante fled to a neighborhood about 1.5 miles away, where he claimed authorities to have been within 10 yards from stepping on him. The suspect was seen multiple times by trail and security cameras in the neighborhoods he was seeking refuge. The suspect broke into multiple homes, stealing a .22 caliber rifle, and was shot at by the homeowner. Cavalcante was captured by heat signature from a DEA plane that authorities deployed a K-9 squadron when Yoda, a Belgian Malinois, wrestled the suspect, biting Cavalcante and bringing him into custody. Cavalcante was immediately transported to a maximum security prison in Phoenix, Arizona, where he will serve the same life sentence that brought him to Chester County. Cavalcante will not be eligible for parole.
Marine Corps in South Carolina lost track of an F-35 fighter jet this past Sunday. Military officials say they lost track of the jet after the pilot ejected himself. The jet's trackers were down while police and military officials searched for the missing jet. Joint Base Charleston released a statement asking for the public's help in finding the jet. Early Monday morning, police found debris matching the jet not far from the craft's last known position, indicating a crash landing shortly after losing contact. This debris was later confirmed to be the missing jet. However, no one in the area reported hearing or seeing a crash. The pilot was safely retrieved and taken to a medical facility, though it is still unknown why the pilot ejected. West Virginia University recently approved cuts to certain academic programs, cutting future budget defects. Reporter Brendan McNamara has more on the university's decision.
Thanks, Jill. In a series of votes, the West Virginia University Board of Governors approved cuts to faculty and academic programs in a chaotic meeting on Friday. The board agreed to eliminate 28 academic majors and 143 faculty positions. A few positions were spared against the recommendation of the university administration. However, the vast majority of the changes were pushed through. The departments facing cuts include, but are not limited to, language, art, and music, among many others, such as biometric engineering. The administration says these cuts are necessary to offset a $45 million budget deficit that could balloon to $75 million in future years. Over the last decade, WVU, like many universities in America, has faced declining enrollment coupled with declining state funding. Last year, West Virginia lawmakers created a new funding formula that incentivizes schools to have degree programs in workforce priorities and help students who are low income or unprepared coming out of high school. State legislators have vocally supported the cuts and have said they will not come to the university's rescue. Moments before the votes took place, many students gathered in the meeting room and began chanting loudly in protest. The university police eventually removed them from the room and later the building. Reporting for NewsNight, I'm Brendan McNamara.
Last Friday, the United Auto Workers began a strike after their contracts expired Thursday night. Union members from 3 separate automotive company plants all went on strike simultaneously for a greater impact. This includes workers from a General Motors plant in Westville, Missouri, a Stella's plant in Toledo, Ohio, and a Ford plant in Wayne, Michigan. The union has proposed new wages in the new contract, but the automotive companies did not agree with their requests. The workers are asking for a 40% wage increase in the board in the next 4 years, but the companies have only offered between a 14% and 20% increase. Since the strike began, union representatives and representatives from General Motors, Stellantis, and Ford have been trying to make negotiations. The strike is very impactful on the automotive companies the longer it continues, since the manufacturing plants are extremely interconnected, meaning other plants cannot produce full products without the products from the plants that are on strike. Coming up after the break, find out about how one of Point Park's favorite establishments is coming to an end. Don't go away.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Daybreak. Chicken Guy opened in PPG Place on Monday.
The bridge would open before the 1 year marks.
To check out the 20th annual gingerbread display.
Share with you this week's ray of sunshine.
We are still somehow hanging around in the playoff.
It gives Georgia Democrats some hold onto the governing body.
200,000 people still in harm's way.
This weather is perfect for those cozy nights indoors.
Fall's arriving here in Pittsburgh, and one thing students look forward to most is the farmers market. Every Thursday, Market Square's atmosphere is filled with live performances, small businesses, and food. The main attraction, however, is the farmers who bring their homegrown and fresh produce. Farmers within a 70 to 150-mile radius bring a variety of products from corn, tomatoes, and even mushrooms. Farming is essential for fruits, vegetables, meats, and more. Store-bought produce may contain hormones, GMOs, and other preservatives. In contrast, local farming is fresh and grown more traditionally. The use of pesticides in the growth of produce has caused concern in consumers. While commercial farms rely on these synthetic ways to produce crops, local farms rely on organic methods. Kendall Cohen, the owner of Alpha Farms, located in Holmesworth, Ohio, expressed how his products are grown for their freshness and flavor, not for shipping. Quote, "Our stuff wouldn't ship very well because it's fresh, it's tender, it's juicy, it's flavorful," end quote. Why should you continue to buy locally? Not only will your produce be clean, fresh, and better tasting, but you will be supporting the local economy. The Farmers Market is open every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. until October 26th. For more information, times, vendors, and performance schedules, you can visit the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership's website.
Pittsburgh City Council held a public hearing last Wednesday to continue its discussions on Allegheny General Hospital's proposed renovations to its Northside campus. The potential development plans proposed AGH's 10 years institutional master plan earned the support of City's Planning Commission in June. though decided to conduct a separate public hearing on the matter to hear from residents. The possible construction includes new buildings within the hospital's existing Northside campus and possible development sites at Sandusky Street and North Avenue, James and North Streets, and James and Hemlock Streets. The plan also suggests moving the hospital's helipad to the roof of the Snyder Pavilion building in hopes of reducing noise for nearby residents. This move would put the helipad higher off the ground. Other ideas proposed in the plan include converting all patient rooms to single rooms, consolidating service lines spread across campuses by employing about 55 employees in the next 5 years, and modernizing procedural and clinical spaces to keep up with new standards in technology and patient care. The institutional master plan is awaiting for final approval from City Council after being recommended by the Planning Commission. This past weekend, Millville held one of its biggest events of the year with activities for everyone to enjoy. Reporter Brandon Krasowski has the details on the event and how the road closures affected this year's festival. Brandon?
Last week on September 15th and 16th, the Borough of Millville celebrated its annual Millville Days Festival. Grand Avenue and other roads were closed throughout the event. Every year in September, the streets are closed with live music, plenty of food and drinks, and even some carnival rides. On Friday, September 15th, the annual Millville Days car cruise was held, which featured many classic cars and a competition to decide which car was the best. Saturday, September events included a volleyball tournament and KWSA wrestling. This year's events were slightly smaller and shorter than usual. The event would usually go down the entire Grand Avenue. However, the ongoing Lincoln Bridge closure would have prevented any traffic from coming through the Millville area. The bridge closure also shrank the duration of the festival, which is typically 3 days instead of 2. A parade is also usually held on Saturday. However, the bridge closure prevented this from happening. There were also some new events happening this year, such as a kids' activity area at the Millville Fire Department. Reporting for NewsNight, I'm Brandon Krasowski.
The 2 men found guilty in connection to the 2022 shooting death of 1-year-old Davery Thomas were sentenced on Wednesday, September 6, to mandatory life in prison without the possibility of parole. Marquez Anger, 24, and Londell Falconser Jr., 27, were both convicted of first-degree murder in June for the shooting that occurred downtown in May of last year. Allegheny County District Attorney Stephen Zappala released a statement following the sentencing, saying, quote, "This was a heinous, senseless crime that resulted in the loss of an innocent child's life. We are pleased with the sentencing outcome, and our hearts go out to the family of Davery during this time," unquote. Last week, Point Park students were shocked to learn a local fan-favorite restaurant was shutting down. Our reporter Hannah Bazet spoke to students and the staff at the restaurant to get to the bottom of the sudden closing.
After 40 years of service, a beloved restaurant amongst many Point Park students has announced it will be closing its doors on September 29th. The Mandarin Gourmet, located just down the street from campus, has treated students to their delicious food for decades. The announcement came as a shock to many students after the restaurant created an Instagram page just 2 weeks prior, promoting their business and advertising merchandise for students to buy.
I was disappointed. We had a lot of memories, and just it being right there, it's always on the top of your head. Like if you're hungry, it's like, oh, Mandarin Gourmet run, huh?
Will, a server of 10 years and a recognizable face to any who have eaten there, says the closing came as a surprise to him as well. He says he asked the owners for a reason as to why they were closing, and they wouldn't give it to him.
I asked the management. I didn't really get answer, but my best guess is maybe the business is just not making it.
Will tells me him staying at the Mandarin Gourmet for as long as he did had nothing to do with the job itself, but for the Point Park students he met while doing it.
Definitely Point Park students. They just showing their faces, here, and they show the greatest support for the business, and then they are always patient and nice with us.
With the Mandarin's final days quickly approaching, students will now have to find a new local restaurant to enjoy. Reporting for NewsNight, I'm Hannah Bazet.
As for Will, he tells us that after the Mandarin closes, he will be moving to Ohio to be closer to his family, and after that, he's still figuring things out. The restaurant is still selling t-shirts until supplies last for anyone who is interested.
Zachary Sam, an inmate in the Allegheny County Jail, has died undergoing the jail's detox protocols. Sam, age 27, tested positive for fentanyl, amphetamines, and methamphetamines after being incarcerated for only 3 weeks. This marks the third person to die in the Allegheny County Jail this year, with each death relating to substances or detox protocols used in the ACJ. The National Commission on Correctional Health Care is currently reviewing the protocols and will have finalized recommendations in October, while the Allegheny County Police are still determining Sam's cause of death. Celebrating Asian culture and their 125th anniversary, the Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium is holding their Asian Lantern Festival. Our reporters Cora Redinger and Debbie Wason got the scoop on all this year's festivities.
The Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium is currently showcasing an Asian Lantern Festival to celebrate Asian culture, conservation and wildlife, and the zoo's 125th anniversary. This past Friday, Point Park University offered discounted tickets for their students to attend the event. The festival has a lot to offer, including live performers and entertainment, Asian cuisine, and of course, huge glowing lanterns displayed throughout the entire zoo. There are multiple types of live entertainment to experience along your journey through the zoo. Illuminated by sculptural lanterns, you'll be able to witness live music played by skilled musicians on traditional Asian instruments, and you can also catch showings of cultural dances performed by dancers that flew in from China to perform at the festival. You may even get a chance to watch performances by local martial arts students showing off their skills in exhilarating, high-energy demonstrations. And if you get hungry on your journey through the festival, you can stop for some Asian cuisine offerings, including Korean barbecue, fried rice, and lo mein. The festival offers dozens of sparkling lanterns to discover and take pictures with. The lanterns range from sculptural representations of animals you can find at the zoo to endangered species and even to representations of Asian culture. You can find signs near the lanterns that teach you about the significance of the animal or the particular piece of Asian culture being represented. You can even find a whole representation of the Chinese zodiac calendar in larger-than-life lantern form. And while all of the festival specialties are happening around you, you might even get a chance to catch a glimpse of some of your favorite zoo animals as you make your way through the park. The Asian Lantern Festival runs from 6:30 to 10:30, Thursday through Sunday nights until October 29th.
While Point Park's discounted tickets are no longer available, be sure to go check out the festival before it ends. You can get your tickets at pittsburghzoo.org. Pig organs may soon become a real solution to your kidney problems. Find out how soon that will become a reality, plus your weekly weather. Stick with us.
Regular physical activity is one of the most important things you can do for your health. The benefits of physical activity include brain health, weight management, reducing disease, strengthening your bones and muscles, and improving your ability to do everyday activities. So, it's time to get up and be active.
A preclinical study at the University of Alabama has found that genetically modified pig kidney can provide, quote, life-sustaining kidney function, end quote. The study uses xenotransplantation as a way to cure late-stage liver problems. This is one of many studies that point to xenotransplantation as a solution for the organ shortage. Facing the country, the organ successfully paired with the 52-year-old subject suffering from stage 2 chronic kidney disease and hypertension, keeping function for all 7 days of the study and still remaining function after the conclusion of the study. The study will soon move to the next stage after approval from the FDA. When it's 50 degrees in the morning and 75 by noon, it's hard to tell what season we are in or what's coming next. Luckily, weather reporter Catherine Greisinger is here to give us a look into this week's weather. What's coming up, Catherine?
Thanks, Jill. Before we get into the week, let's take a look at Thursday's weather. Tomorrow, we should expect a chilly morning with low temperatures of 58 to 60 degrees. So if you have an 8 a.m., it might be a good idea to break out a warm flannel. The rest of the day, however, will shoot up into the high 70s, and we may even see the temperatures reach 80 degrees in the late afternoon. Despite the warmer temperatures, we're only looking at a UV index of 5, so tomorrow might not be the day to get your early fall suntan in. The rest of the week, we'll see a similar story play out. Over the weekend, the highs will linger comfortably around the 70s, except for in the morning when we again see temps in the mid to low 50s. The same pattern continues on into the first half of the week, with some cloud cover providing shade from the sun. Tuesday, we may see a spot of rain, but it's only a 25% chance, so I wouldn't rush out to buy an umbrella just yet. The week, wind speeds won't go anywhere higher than 5 miles per hour, translating to a light breeze. So I'd say that this week we're somewhere between sweater weather and sweaty weather. Now, back to the desk.
Thank you for tuning in to our first episode of NewsNight for the semester. If you want to see more, you can check out our social media pages on both Facebook and Instagram at UVU Television.
You can also check out more episodes on our YouTube channel. I'm Erin Ute.
And I'm Jill Musser. From everyone here at NewsNight, thank you for watching and have a great evening.